Hey guys, how are you? It's been a minute. It is February 1st and it is Imbolc tonight and tomorrow night. That is a pagan holiday where they celebrate the half year. So we're halfway done and halfway to the next year in the pagan religion. So there's that. I have been very busy. I've been going to school. I'm in college now, and yeah, I'm a college kid now. But anyway, yeah. So classes just started up again for this semester, and yeah, we're busy. So I took 5 classes this semester, just trying to get ahead of things. But anyway, this video is not about me. So I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about shadow work. So a lot of people have been like posting it on Facebook and talking about it and whatnot, and it can be confusing, I guess, for lack of a better word, and it can be scary, and it can be all these like big massive things, right? So everybody expects it, at least in my world lately, I've started to understand that the concepts in spirituality, religion, psychology, science, whatever you want to, whatever avenue you choose to get to your next place, next level, whatever, we see it as this big, massive, magical concept that we'll never understand, right? And a lot of times, guys, it's tiny, it's simple, it's little, and so I've been learning that lately, and as it relates to shadow work. So shadow work isn't this big portion of your life where you're just in this dark energy and you're just like, why me, and victim mentalities, and in this, what they call would be, I guess, dark night of the soul. That's another thing that just sounds really big and really massive and really scary, for lack of a better word. It's not that big, guys. It's, dark night of the soul is maybe you have a down night. Maybe you're just not on top of your game. It doesn't have to be months, years. It doesn't even have to be more than a few minutes. It's just that little shift of something's not right. Something doesn't resonate with me here. Something is off. And it's those dark nights, moments that lead us into this shadow work, right? So shadow work, if you equate the two, right, it's dark. The shadow is dark, right? So you have the sunlight behind you, and then there's a shadow that is cast in front of you. When you're looking at the sun, you can't see the shadow behind you, but when you're got your back away from the sun, right, you're not looking at the light, you're not being all light, love, and positive and whatnot, then you're seeing the shadow. That's when you see your shadow. So it's those dark times that you open up to seeing the truth of what really is, right? And your shadow, if you think about it, when you get your back to the sun and you're looking down and you see your shadow, it looks huge, does it not? Like your shadow could be like 6 feet tall. And the closer you get to it, the smaller it gets. Isn't that interesting? So until it eventually disappears, right? And our shadows don't disappear. They come and go, just like the sunrise and the sunset. And there's in the darkness of night, when your shadow isn't there, is when it's integrated, right? That's when you can truly look at yourself and say, be honest with yourself and say, what's up? Did I really do that? Did I really say that? Did I really think that? Did I really hurt that person? Were my intentions really as pure as I thought they were? I'll be honest with you guys. I've uncovered a lot of my own shadows, if you will, lately, and it's simple things. Okay. We've been studying the Enneagram at church, and it's look it up if you're not sure what that is. But basically, it's a personality type. It's 1 through 9, and anyway, so I discovered my personality type to be that of the helper. right? I like to help. I like to come in and be the savior. I like to give good advice. I do videos like this. And what I've come to find with that being my personality type, or the core of who I am and what I want to be and whatnot, is there is a dark side to that, right? At times I didn't feel like I had an identity without that. If I didn't have anybody to help, if I didn't have anybody to fix, if I didn't have anybody to save, then I would disappear. And I do. I mean, another chart that we were looking at, my friend Sarah and I were looking at, is called the Human Design Chart. And I have, it's kind of like a birth chart. Again, go look it up. It's it has 88 gates, right? And certain gates in your chart are open, or certain chakras are defined or undefined. Anyway, I'm still not sure I quite understand all of it, but my 44th gate is open, and I thought it was funny because it's actually a 44.4, but it just means that I am worried that the past will come back to haunt me, if you will, and that I might disappear, that I'll go extinct. This has been a shadow piece for me, because I didn't realize that being so helpful was in some ways toxic to me, right? I lose my identity in people. I forget to take care of myself because I'm too busy taking care of others. And my dogs are messing with my background. Sorry, guys. And I just, I mean, there's a balance there, right? So you help people, but you don't overdo it, if you will. And I have overdone it. I can own that. Another piece of shadow work is understanding that when I did do those things, when I did save people, when I did give my all, and by all I mean, energy, time, money, whatever, when they were healed, or they were better, if you will, I had the expectation that it would be returned. That, my friends, is manipulation. Not a great thing for me to want to admit to myself or to the rest of the world on this video, but I had to really take a good look at myself and say, did you help that person in the spirit of helping, or did you help that person in the spirit of they would help you and owe you a favor later on, right? So I'm thinking of like, I don't know if you guys ever watched Once Upon a Time. It was one of my favorite shows way back in the day. I just rewatched all the episodes, but there was a character, Rumpelstiltskin, in there, and everything he does, there's always a favor to be returned, right? He never actually just does, well, until, I don't want to ruin it for you, but never does anything without expecting something back in return, right? And he's the evil one. Like, he's the one that everybody's afraid of, and blah, 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 blah. And the other thing he says too, which I'm just going to briefly mention, is magic always comes with a price. Interesting, right? So when you manipulate, there's always a price, right? Because wouldn't magic be a form of kind of manipulation, I guess, in some worlds? But I digress. Anyway, the shadow work is understanding that you have, or at least for me, for, the type 2 Enneagram, I have the resentment when I'm not appreciated. I have a resentment when someone doesn't give back what I feel like they owe me because of what I did that they didn't even ask me to do, you guys. I mean, come on, seriously. Like, when you really look at this stuff, I sit there and I look at myself and I'm like, wow, like, just wow. And the other wow moment was realizing that not everybody's like that. It's eye-opening. It is eye-opening. And I mean, you got to own your shit, right? You got to own it. And, now that I am aware that I have that tendency, because it's a personality tendency, right? It's a personality test. So these are just our go-tos, right? This is what's become habit for us in our lives. And it may be that this was something that I created as a child to survive whatever mental distress that my little 2-year-old self was in. They say that, I don't know. You know what? I'm not even going to go there. I was going to say that there's certain childhood wounds that will create certain characteristics in people. And really, I mean, I'm not a psychologist. Go, Dr. Romney, great resource for that. And she can break it down for you. There's a great app on your phone called MedCircle. It's a little on the pricey side. I think I paid for a year subscription, but I want to say it's like $20 a month or something. But it's got some amazing resources in there if you're looking for more of a psychological and less spiritual type perspective on things. She's got a great video library on like narcissists. She's got, bipolar disorder, whatever. Anyway, they can break down those wounds for you, right? That's not what I'm here to do. What I'm here to do is to tell you that they exist. Go back and look at yourself as an observer, right? Go back and replay that movie, because at the end of the day, your memories are a movie. They don't exist anymore. The only life it has is the life you give it, right? And that magic of giving it life always comes with a price. But it can also come with a reward, right? Because there's two sides of the same coin. If you can, have heads one time, you can have tails the next. So when you go back and you look at those movies in your childhood, in your past or whatever, I actually recently did this and it was really helpful for me with my shadow work, which is get a picture of yourself as a child, right? Just an old picture if you have it. And if you don't have it, then make one up. But get that picture of your younger self. I think the picture I'm using lately in my shadow work, I think it was like 9, which probably is not great because that's that awkward, really ugly stage, right? At least it was for me. And so I go back and I visit my memories, and I'm no longer the first person perspective in the memory. I am who I am now, and I'm seeing, like, I step outside and I picture that little girl at 9 years old. And I'm just watching. Like, I'm not judging. I'm not telling her what to do. I'm not consoling her. I'm not doing all the inner child woo-woo stuff. I'm just watching. I'm directing, right? And then the scene cuts, right? And I picture that I'm a director, and I walk up to this younger self and I say, what is the scene here? What are we trying to say, right? Because as a movie director, I guess that's, when you create a movie, you have a message usually in there. There's some profound truth that you're trying to get through. And I ask this little actress and I say, what is the message we're trying to send here? And I don't always get an answer. Go figure. But it puts me in the mindset of I get to direct the scene, right? I get to say, okay, well, if we were wanting to present this and get this across, like with our actions, with our words, with our mannerisms, whatever, if this is what we're trying to say, we didn't quite say it. So how can I motivate you from a director, actress perspective to say what it is I want to say as the creator of this movie? And it's a dialogue, right? It's between me and this little actress. And if you think about, again, if you're, I don't know if you delved into how movies are created or how they're directed or whatnot, or if you've seen, scenes of it on TV, there's a dialogue, and it's, how do I motivate you? How can I motivate you? So an actor needs to cry in a scene, right? And some actors will tell you, oh, they remember a sad moment, or some have to smell onions or whatever just to get those tears to flow, because that's what they're trying to portray. And so if you look at it from that perspective, be the director. Ask yourself, what is it you're trying to say? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to learn? What are you trying to go? And direct the avatar that is you in that movie, and help her, him, whoever, to portray that, to live that. And that would be what I guess you could call living your truth. But these are the shadow work things, guys. And you don't have to do it my way. I mean, that's just how I do it. It's kind of fun for me. I'm a huge movie buff, in case, you guys probably know if you've been watching my videos. There's a movie reference to everything. So it's what makes sense to me, right? It's my language. It's how I do my shadow work. But at the end of the day, I have to look at those things that make you cringe, right? We all have those. We all have them. And if you're telling me that you don't, then I don't believe you. It's just, we have all done and said and been things that we didn't want to do, say, or be. And we cringe when we think of them. Those are the things, guys. Those are the things that we need to look at. And we need to own it. And you don't have to get on YouTube and make a video and tell the whole fucking world about it like I do. But you do have to tell yourself. You gotta own it. I mean, if you don't, and you're hiding from that shadow, and your eyes are blinded by this light, then you'll never see it. You'll never see the truth of who you truly are. You know, you can't look at your head with your own eyes. You can't. You just can't. So, you know, look at your relationships. Look at, you know, that's how we learn about ourselves. A lot of times we do what's called projecting. And that is those things that we can't see because we're too close, because we are ourselves. They'll be reflected to us in other people, right? And they get louder and they get more uncomfortable the more we try to avoid them, right? It's kind of like that God's turning up the heat on you. And when you keep encountering the same situation over and over again with different people, and, you know, well, this one did me wrong, and that one did me wrong, and that one did me wrong, and that one did me wrong. There's only one common denominator in all of that, guys. Only one. And I'm not saying that you're perpetrating what they're perpetrating, but it is trying to show you something. Sometimes you are perpetrating it, and you don't even know it. Sometimes you're just allowing it to be perpetrated on you. You know, I mean, there's so many different ways you could look at it, and that's the shadow part of it. That's the unseen. That's the, you know, if you think about like Peter Pan's shadow, there's no eyes, right? There's no nose, there's no mouth, it's just the outline of what's there. But there's no depth to it. There's no understanding of it. When we do the shadow work, when we look at the shadow and we walk towards it, right? And we get closer to it and it begins to disappear, it's because we've assimilated it back into ourselves. We've accepted who it is we are and owned it. Own your shit. It's getting your power back, right? Because when you own it, if you can get on YouTube or wherever or whatever and understand the truth of who you are, good, bad, or otherwise, nobody can offend you. Nobody can. Because, okay, let's take my example. I gave with the expectation of receiving. Some might call that selfish. Some might call that manipulative. Some might call that, I don't know, dark, whatever. In the past, before I uncovered that, somebody called me manipulative and I would say, you're fucking out of your mind. There's no way. I'm a good person. I'm a love and light and I do this and I do that and I'm good and I help and I give and I give and I give. And I couldn't see it. But then when I saw it, okay. So now I see it. Now I own it. Now I can say, yeah, that's, yeah, I did that. I mean, it just is. Then the next guy that calls me manipulative, I can say, yeah, and whole new perspective. I don't get triggered. I don't get mad. I own my truth. Took the wind right out of his fucking sails, let me tell you. And I mean, what are they going to argue back? Gee, you're a manipulative bitch. Yep. And next, move on. There's no gas on the fire. There's no oxygen to feed that fire. I've already been shown that. I already own that. I'm aware of it. I'm aware that I have a deep-seated nature towards that. And in being so aware, I have to be cautious of it, if you will. I have to ask myself, when I'm doing something for you, I before I even decide if I'm going to anymore, which is new for me, I have to ask myself, why? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this with pure intention? Because if you're not, don't fucking do it. Because all that creates is resentment. I've also learned to, instead of rushing in as the savior complex that I had in the past, is to simply say, how can I help? Sometimes people don't want your help. Sometimes they just want to be heard. They just want somebody to listen, right? So start with the how can I help? I don't know, guys, I feel like maybe this video is for me and not you. But anyway, it's shadow work. This is what happens with shadow work. And they say, you know, there's something else I want to kind of address here. And they say you can't do shadow work alone. I beg to differ. And here's why. I've done many, many, many hours of shadow work alone. I write in my journal. I watch my own videos. I'll go back. I'll watch my own videos and readings, I don't know, 2-3 times. And I always hear something, you know, because I'm talking. I mean, if you think about it, who knows you better than you know yourself, ultimately. And a lot of times I'll hear things that I've said on these videos that just, you know, they hit me the wrong way or the right way, as the case may be. Anyway, yes, you can do the work by yourself. It's better. It's better. It's quicker with a therapist, with someone you trust, whatever. But I think the spirit of not doing it, shadow work alone, is understanding that you cannot reveal your, I don't want to say wounds and I don't want to say flaws. You can reveal your hidden self when you analyze your relationships. I think that's what's meant by saying you can't do it alone. If you picture this, okay, so if you're sitting on an island all alone, completely alone, nobody's there to bother you, no other energies to interact with, no other nothing. There's no conflict, right? There's no change. There's no growth because you don't have to. There's nobody to need you or for you to need them, or I mean, there's just no interaction, right? And if you really want to get to the heart of that shadow work, don't do it alone. In that, don't remember and visit times when you were alone. Visit those conflicts. Visit those interactions. Visit those times that you hurt somebody else or somebody else hurt you. It's in that interaction with another person that things will be revealed, right? So saying shadow work is something you don't do alone is not what you would think it means at a surface level. Do it alone, okay? Don't be so vulnerable that you're giving people passwords and giving them a way to hurt you, right? Because when you start to visit these things, guys, it's raw. It's raw. And you don't want somebody using that against you. You know, I revisited back in my past where I was a very huge daddy's girl, right? I needed my dad's approval. I won't go into a bunch of whys about it. I mean, I've been unpacking this for quite some time, but there's an issue in that relationship that I needed to look at, and I've uncovered a lot. But I needed that approval. Every time I did something that I thought he would be proud of, I had to brag about it. If I did something that I thought he might be ashamed of, then I hid that, and I hated myself for it, right? Because I couldn't approve of myself without his approval. So in that's just surface level. I mean, I've done, anyway, the point being, I shared this information with someone before I really had unpacked it to the level I have now. And it came back at me, right? It wasn't a very nice thing to do. But the message I got back from this person who I thought I could trust and share things with was, I'm ashamed of you. Ooh, well, yeah, that had touched a nerve, you know, or I'm disappointed in you. That was raw for me. And now that I've unpacked it, now that I have understood it, that I can move on from it, somebody can say, I'm disappointed in you. And I go, sucks to be you, because I'm not. And I'm the only one that matters. So be careful when you're doing your shadow work. Don't reveal unless you're in a safe place. And by safe, I don't mean, you know, the four walls around you. I mean the person that you're speaking to is not filing these things away in a database to use against you later, because those people exist, guys, and they suck. They do, but they're there for a reason. They serve a purpose. They really do. And we don't always know what that is. But if you're gonna be that vulnerable, And we all need to be, and we all should have that safe place in order to be that vulnerable. Make sure it's safe. Make sure it's with a therapist. Ultimately, I guess that would be my best recommendation, right? Because they don't have a dog in the fight. They're objective. But at the very least, if it's a family member, a close friend or whatnot, make sure that you have vetted that person, right? I don't mean test, I mean vetted. Are they authentic? Do they calm your energy, or do they disrupt it? You know, energy's a thing. You'll know. You'll know. Your intuition will tell you, and just be really, really cautious with that when you're doing that shadow work. And it's gut-wrenching work, guys. Sorry, but it's Sue. Sorry. Wow, I hadn't sneezed in ages. I'm in a room that I haven't dusted in ages, apparently. But anyway, doing that shadow work, guys, it's gut-wrenching. It really is. But I will end my video with this. It is absolutely the hardest thing that you will ever do. And when you are able to get on the other side of it and look past it, it was the easiest thing you've ever done. Bottom line. So I'm going to leave it there. If you guys have questions, or you have other things you want to talk about, or you want me to talk about with you, just drop some comments below. Other than that, I'm probably going to go back and rewatch my video now. So you guys have an awesome day. I trust your day is unfolding beautifully, and much love and light. Take care.